I was my brain was me, right?
Yes.
Lose that, and you're almost stripped of not just a tool or an asset, but like your personality, what you believe is your essence.
Welcome to Now What, a bold, honest podcast about reinvention in midlife where inspiration meets real life humor. I'm Melissa, and if you felt the shift and wondered what's next, you're not behind. You're just getting started. Here, we laugh, we go there, and you will leave thinking, okay, I can do this. Because midlife isn't a crisis, it's a plot twist. Let's go. Squad. Most of us have spent years being really good at something. A career, a role, a title. And somewhere along the way, that thing we do becomes who we are. My guest today didn't just feel that shift. She had it ripped away. A traumatic brain injury took the one thing a sharp, strategic corporate attorney depends on most, her brain, overnight, gone. What she found in that silence and what she built from it became a best-selling book and a framework helping high achievers strip back the layers, keeping them stuck. Buckle up. This one is going to hit. Squad, please join me in welcoming to Now What, Martine Cohen. Welcome to the pod.
Thank you so much, Melissa. It's such a pleasure to be here with you today.
Oh, I am so excited for this conversation. I have so many questions to ask you. So let's get
Go
into
ahead.
it. Okay. You're a lawyer,
Yes.
2 law degrees,
Yes.
corporate strategy,
Yep.
and now you do brain hacks and help people find their inner light.
So juicy, yes.
So juicy. Okay, I need this story because help me understand how you got from there to here to where you are today.
Yeah, it's a great question because it took me some time to understand how the universe guided me from there to here. And I was like, wait, what's going on here? So in 2016, I was in a car accident. There was a car that rammed into me. I didn't even see it coming. So next thing I knew, I was waking up and the paramedics were sort of on top of me talking, and I thought I was yelling and they could barely hear me. It
Really?
was very scary because for a few months, I really lost the use of my brain. I wouldn't understand a conversation. I understood words separately, but not put together in a sentence. So it was very scary. And if you understand that kind of like type A attorney, by the way, I was a happy attorney, but I was still an attorney, right? Like, so that kind of mindset. It
Right.
was so scary to realize that I had identified with my brain. I kind of like, I was my brain was me, right?
Yes.
And lose that. And you're almost stripped of not just a tool or an asset, but like your personality, what you believe is your essence. It's not, but it's what you believe,
Yes.
right? And then you're like, well, am I going to be like this for the rest of my life? Like, who am I? What am I? And what do I do? And the thing that I was most terrified about was having regret, because a neurologist at one point said, the brain's very finicky. It's very overprotective. It kind of like, sort of like, folds on itself, and we can't do anything intrusive. We can't do anything to help you really. You got to go slow. And within a year from now, we'll be able to see if you have any residual damage. That was the most terrifying
I
sentence I've
hear.
ever heard in my life, like seriously.
And was there anything like you could do during that year? Like, when you hurt, you have physical therapy if you blow your knee out. What do you
Right.
do for the
So there's
brain?
no real physical therapy for brain other than certain exercises, but you have to be very careful in how sort of you navigate that, because if you overdo it, you're going to keep the damage permanent. And if you underdo it, your brain may not want to get out of that protective mode. It's sort of like, and you're concussed, right? So it's not like you're really able to sort of step out of that and say, oh, I know what to do, right? It's like
Right.
the sort of core of who you are and how you function and how you filter the world.
Did you have memory loss? Like, could you remember like, oh, I'm a lawyer. I worked on this case last
Yeah.
week. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
So not I work on this case last week because my brain was too in pain, because it's also very painful to have a concussion. Any stimulation is overly sort of emphasized, right? It feels like so much louder than it is, and the lights feel so much brighter, and people talking feels like, oh my goodness, like my head's going to explode. So there's a constant,
oh,
I don't want to say headache, but brain hurt that's
yes.
just kind of there with you, and you don't really know what to do. It's almost like an inflammation, even though it's not. It feels like that.
Right.
Of an organ that you normally don't feel, right? We're not aware of our brain in terms of the
Right.
sensation, the bodily sensation. All of a sudden, you have one like nonstop. So that was terrifying, I have to say. And then, so funny anecdote, like I'm a suds girl. I love bubble baths. It's like my zen place.
Girl, I love
Love,
that.
love, love with candle, like the whole thing.
I
Ever since
love
like
it. Yes.
like that's it. So one night, I don't even know how I remembered this, but but I just like drew myself a bath, and I don't even remember how I thought about it because I didn't really think about it. I kind of just did it, and I was sitting in the bath, and I remember sort of being in this darkness and kind of like almost suffocate. Like it was scary, it was painful. It was like, is this like the rest of my existence?
Mm-hmm.
And then something, we have a lot more resolve and a lot more internal power than we think. Really, we do. Something made me go inward. And it was like, I need to understand where this fear is coming from. I can't do anything, but I can do that. I need to reconnect with myself because I need to feel like me again on some level.
So
And
this was like in the bathtub, you kind of had an epiphany, you would say, like an
well,
awakening almost, or
I had an epiphany of first, there's something that just made me go and be like, I'm tired of feeling afraid. And I went
yeah.
inward. And we don't usually go inward because it's not comfortable. We don't want to rock the boat. And who tells us not to? Our brain, right? So funny, mine was not functional.
Oh.
Therefore, when I went inward, nothing stopped me from exploring what I call layers, like all the gunk that we have, all sort of like all that conditioning from childhood, all those fears, everything that holds you back, that says I'm not good enough or I'm too much or this one's judging me or I don't feel, that lack of inner freedom. We actually are sort of the ones that cause that. It's nobody on the outside. It's us, right? It's our mindset. It's our thoughts. It's our, incessant chatter at 2 a.m. about that was so
Yeah.
stupid. Why'd you do that when you're trying to sleep and relax and your head's like, no, this is when I'm going to berate you for every single little thing that you could have done that I think you could have done properly that you didn't do, but really you couldn't have done it because it's not realistic, but I'm going to make it seem like it was realistic and you should have been perfect today. Right?
Oh my
And
God. I literally had goosebumps when you said that because going back to even just midlife, it's when that shift, like if you get fired or you do a career change,
correct.
and it's like that was my identity, but I'm not going to go inward or like moms in the middle of the night, I did this wrong, I did that wrong, the
Yeah.
worrying. Now, what I'm so happy is that you are here to, we all don't need to go through brain
No,
trauma.
no, no, no. Like,
You
do not do
fucking
this at home, like,
you
don't
did the
do this
hard
at
work
home.
for us.
No.
I mean,
I
I'm so
100%. That's why I wrote a book. I'm like,
yeah.
you do not need to. I wrote it in the book, actually. You do not need to be hit over the head or have a concussion to do this. I promise.
Well, and that
Right?
was one of my questions. What are the layers? But you're saying all of that, like the self-doubt, the fear, those
Everything.
are
So I
all the
identified
layers.
like 7 primary layers, and then there are derivative layers under that. So there's the perfectionist.
Mhm.
There's trust, there's worthiness, there's agency, right? Where we kind of feel like we're not in charge of our life. Somebody else is, or some other belief system, or some value system, or some way that we were brought up, or what community we're part of, but it's never just about us. We don't check in with ourselves, right? So identify 7 of them overall, and each one has its own chapter. So people can, and the fun part about the book is that it has client stories. It also has exercises. It has aha moments. It has stories. So it really meets the reader where they're at, and the kind of learner or processor that they are. It also sort of like touches on all those kind of things. If you prefer questions and answers, if you need a story, if whatever it is, you're more experiential. So and it kind of explains how to identify it within yourself and then what to do about it. But first, it tells this whole story. So I walk the reader on a journey so they do not have to have a concussion, but they can have all the benefits.
Well, thank you. I mean, I feel
You're welcome.
terrible saying
Yeah,
thank
no,
you for
seriously.
that. But I mean, talk
No,
about
but
a
like,
story of turning tragedy into triumph. Well, and another thing of what, and we'll get in more in detail in the book too, is I love like you have exercises. I'm a person who I need action items.
right.
No, I've gone to therapy a bunch and I finally, and I'm a big fan of it, but talking, yes, is great for me, but I
Right.
need action items,
Yes. A
right?
lot
I
of
need to
people
get,
do, by the way.
yeah, I get out
Yeah.
of that loop of, okay, this is how I felt, but how do I not feel this way anymore? Like, give me exercise. But
Exactly.
that's what I think what is one of the many things that I loved about your book. Is there a common layer with people that you work with? Let's say, let's target the midlife woman
Yes.
Do they typically fall in one specific, like, perfectionist, or is it across the map, across your 7 layers?
So
The
I'm
attachment?
very honest in the book, and I was the perfectionist, right? That
Right.
perfectionism. They're all protective layers. I call them protective layers because they really are. They're kind of they were put there at some point when in early childhood when you're not even aware of it, and it got you where you are today. So the first thing is not to sort of knock yourself for it, but to say
Yes.
thank you, but I'm not sure I need you anymore, right? I mean,
Yes. Yes, I just interviewed a hypnotist who it's not judging, like, things get brought up in your subconscious, it's not
yeah.
judging it, it's acknowledging it and saying gratitude, "Thank you," but exactly what you just said, "I don't need you anymore."
Right, or you know what, like, I'm gonna consider or I'll take you along, like, somebody can have a fear, and let's say you wanna do something and the fear's not letting go, well, you don't have to wait till it's gone, by the way, you can say, "Okay, I'm gonna bring you along," but, like, you're in the passenger or you're in the trunk, because I still wanna do this now, but I'll bring you along, and by the way, when you acknowledge fear, it already dims. It already starts to dissipate, because all these
Yes.
things live in darkness, in kind of like this secretive, component inside of us somewhere, and it scares us so much that we fear fear more than anything that we would fear. It's the feeling of fear itself that we're going to like run away from at any cost, which is why we don't introspect, go in and say, wait, I don't need this anymore.
Oh my gosh, okay, so again, goosebumps, I want you to say that again because I don't wanna get lost. When you
Yes.
acknowledge fear.
It starts to dissipate. It loses its grip on your brain. The brain, I became so intimately linked to like understanding the brain from the inside out that how I was able to heal and whatever. So, um, it is such a fearful organ. It is here first and foremost for the fight or flight.
Right. Protection.
But protection is also sort of suffocation if you're not careful. Right? So
Okay.
I wanna be able to how you have an alarm system and you can like I have an app on my phone, right? And sort of like I can set the intensity so that if there's a wind blowing in front of my door, it's not gonna tell me, "Oh, there's an intruder." But if there's somebody walking up my steps, I kinda wanna know that. It's not the same level of intensity.
Right.
So
Right.
we could right? Like, I'm like, every time the wind blows, like,
Yeah,
"Oh my
and
god," like an alarm
911.
notification. 100%. So, it's the same thing with the brain. We can rewire our brain, retrain it to have the algorithm and the programming that we want. So, I wanna know if this is really dangerous for me, or this is not a good person, or this is not a good move, but I don't want everything to be danger or all the possibilities of danger that may or may not happen as if, there's 99% chance of accuracy that it would. Or if you lose a follower, it's not the same thing as if somebody's gonna put you to death. Like, it's really not the same. But for
Right.
it's the same.
Totally. So, you go into this in detail in your book, but can you give us an example of, you hear "rewire the brain." It's kind of a scary, like, "Ooh," I kinda
Yeah.
just get that reaction, but is there a simple, like, what's a step you could tell us now?
First thing that I do, and I have, like, so many different fun exercises, and
Yes.
actually, I was gonna say this later, but one of them I'm going to gift your audience at the end.
Oh,
Like a 2 day
we like
video thing
presents.
where
The bot loves
like to
presents.
retrain their thoughts and stuff. Yeah,
Yes.
because we're all, like, stuck in that today. So, just to start everybody off, like, on a good foot.
Love
But
it.
so there's one thing that I say is turn your fear into curiosity. So, why is that a massive brain hack? Because when your brain is curious, it forgets to be fearful in that same moment. They cannot coexist. If you're curious, you're not afraid. You're adventurous. I call that the adventurer mindset, right? You're like, let me see what this is about. There's no judgment when you're curious. It's really open to go explore, discover, figure out, but it's very like Zen. It's very it's focused, but I'm not afraid. My emotional body is good. I'm not judging. I'm not criticizing. I have no expectations. I'm not attached to a specific result. This is not about my identity or my self worth. I'm just curious.
Oh my god, I'm literally having so many mic drops, like, my
Yeah.
jaw is, like, just okay, you gotta say that again because there's so many like,
Yeah, so I have this
curiosity and
thing that
fear
I've
because
developed and I'm
yeah.
like, turn your fear into curiosity. I give a whole like workshop on it one time and people loved it because I went like step by step. But in reality, when you are curious, your brain cannot be fearful. What I do with my
Is
clients is I
that
keep their brain
scientific? Like, that's
yes, they
scientific
do not
fact.
coexist. You can't because they're mutually exclusive. If your brain is in curiosity mode, it can't be afraid. If it gets afraid, it's out of cure. As soon as you're afraid, you're in judgment, you're in protective, you're not curious anymore. You're not open. You're no longer the adventurer, right? And I talk about adventure mindset because it's easy. Like you're going on a trip that you're excited about. You're not afraid. You trust that whatever happened, you actually want the adventure. Or you're going on a safari. You don't want it to be predictable but you trust that you have everything you need. You got the right guide. You have, the mosquito thing repellent. You have everything you need, and you're like, and the rest, I kind of like actually do want to see how it plays out. Now imagine waking up every morning to life and saying, "Well, I'm having an experience here. Let me just be curious. Let me see what comes my way, and I trust that I have the tools and the wherewithal to manage with whatever comes at my doorstep."
It really makes me think about how we speak to ourselves
Oh,
is just the change of the word curiosity versus fear. My whole body just like
exactly. It's
changed.
an
Like,
experience. So when people
yes,
look at me, they experience themselves and there's a shift. So it's not therapy. And if people want therapy, I'm like, I'm not the right door
right.
for
No,
that.
fair. Yeah, fair.
And therapy is important, but this is not what this is about. This is
Right.
about like a shift, a more awareness, because awareness is power and it leads you to alignment, which means you check in with yourself and now you no longer make decisions, you choose. And I talk a lot about the difference between choice and decision. Decision is getting something off your plate. Like this is what we do a million times a day. But if we took a step back to
Dishes.
I want to choose. Choosing means you're aligned with it. It works for you. We never check in with ourselves to be like, wait, am I part of this equation? When I'm weighing the pros and cons, where am I in there?
Okay, well, yes, yes, yes. I mean, I could literally talk to you for hours about this, and I do suggest will obviously plug this a lot at the end. You guys, you have to get this book. It's amazing. And but okay, what would you say to someone who um okay, let's say single mom, right?
Yeah.
Divorced single mom, or midlife, that's common. Um who is in a job she just hates, but there are bills to pay. So she has this fear of trying to find something else or just feels stuck.
Yeah. So feeling stuck is
Huge.
such a big fear thing that actually the brain says, you're surviving, you're alive, stay here.
Yes.
Such a brain-based kind of thing that really keeps you stuck. So the first thing I would say is what? No, I never say why. It's always what, because what is curious and why is judgmental. Like you said
Wait,
before, the
what
first.
is curious and why is judgmental?
So
Yes.
the part of the book talks about the art of questioning. When you want to figure things out, the question sort of elicits a certain kind of answer. So the way you pose a question will give you a different answer, right? In the problem lies the solution in reality. So what will have an openness and your brain's gonna be like, oh, what? Again, you're getting into curious. Why is like, oh, what? There's already a pretense. There's a prerequisite to why, which is I don't understand this. I don't like this. I maybe don't want this. It's like that way too much. That's before I even asked the question. And I expect that I'm gonna get something that's gonna be helpful to me. What is like wide open, sort of embracing whatever is, and then from there saying, okay, now what do I want to do with this? So I look at the reality. It's never about like not looking at reality, but it's I do have bills to pay. I'm proud. I'm paying my bills. It's also acknowledging ourselves and being aware of not just knocking ourselves, but in reality, when we zero into the 10% or 20% or 30% that's going wrong, where's the 70%? And why is that 30% look like 100%?
I'm laughing because I'm a big tennis player, and I'll be hitting with one of the pros uh where I play, and I'll hit 10 beautiful forehands and the 11th will be horrible, and I'll be like, "Oh," I'll get so
Right.
mad because I missed number 11, and he's like, "What about the 10 you did before?" I'm like, "They didn't exist. I didn't ha it doesn't matter."
Right. So I tell my clients, okay, if you can get as upset as you want about number 11, let's use your example, but
Yeah.
you get equally happy with the same intensity of the first 10 authentically. And if you could genuinely do that, then you're allowed to be upset at 11. If not, balance it out. Like own yourself. Really look at everything. Don't ignore anything, but take a step back, zoom out and look at everything. So I'm not a great tennis player, but I love tennis and I have a friend that we play with because we're the same level.
Yeah,
So you know what
yeah.
I
Oh,
mean?
it's the best sport. It
And
doesn't matter
and
how long
so
you do it,
it's
it's the best
fun, right? I
game.
love it. There's something really fun about it.
Yeah.
But it's we're my I compete with myself. So I want to get better at something, nothing to do with the other person. And therefore we have so much fun because that's what it's about. Not to look at anything else. So this, you're the single mom in transition, first of all, changes are so difficult for the brain, not for us. We're here to expand. We're here to explore the world. To our brain, it's like, but I got you to this safe place. I don't really care if you're unhappy. Like, I don't care. That's not my job. That's above my pay grade. But I need to keep you alive. And it's like, yeah, but this is not the life experience I want. So
Right.
I would tell her, let's look at your, first of all, are you actually, you're paying your bills? That's awesome. It can
Beautiful.
take a moment. You're a single mom. You know what that means? That means everybody relies on you. Are you making sure that you have some time for you? Sometimes we don't love our job because we're depleted before we start the day.
Oh,
We're
I
saturated before our day, before we even get up in the morning. You wake up, you're like, I can't do this. Then even if you love your job, you're going to hate your job, right? Then you're
it's
going to
with parenting too, I think. I mean, I look back at my kids,
100%.
I was working at Microsoft, stayed home to raise the kids, which I wanted to do, but I mean, there were days, they say long days, fast years. Martine, I didn't think was gonna get through the day. There were days I could not get out of bed because I was so depleted and exhausted.
Exactly.
Of course, I loved my children. Of course, I loved being a mother, but there are parts of the job of parenting that are not fun.
There are
But
parts
you
of
feel
everything
guilty
that are not
admitting that.
fun.
You feel I don't now, but you
So
feel
guilt is also another, guilt
yeah, hate
is
guilt.
like, so guilt is actually the brain manipulating you when it think it's losing its grip into getting you to feel something. That's what it's about. Because think about what's guilt. First of all, you want to feel a certain way, or you do, and then something's not letting you, right? But you already know how you feel, and it's okay to acknowledge that because it doesn't change anything. It's just part of it. Yes, you can hold space for this really sucks, or this was hard today, or today, you know what? I wish I worked at Dunkin' Donuts and they didn't have any kids just for today, right? Like I just wish like I could just chill for one
Yes,
day,
yes.
right? And then the next day is like, oh my God, this was beautiful. It was like my kid's kindergarten graduation, and like my heart is full and it's swelling, right? And you know what? Why don't we hold space for both? They're not in competition. But then we honor ourselves, all of who we are, and then you're not depleted. We deplete ourselves by the expectations that we put on ourselves that are so unrealistic by not taking a moment for ourselves. So I have moms that I work with sometimes, and they're like, I don't have any time. I'm like, okay, are you going to eat? Are you going to drink coffee in the morning? Are you going to take a shower? Yes. Are you present when you're doing those things? In other words, you're not allowed to think if it 5 minutes. I have some days that are insane.
Right.
I'm also a cappuccino girl. Love cappuccinos, like literally. So I have this amazing machine. Like I think I was a barista in a former life. I have this amazing machine in my house, and every morning before I do anything, I go downstairs. I make myself a cappuccino. I decide, okay, do I want cinnamon today? Do I want chocolate? Do I want cinnamon and chocolate? Do I want almond milk, regular milk? It sounds silly, but why do I do
Oh,
that?
sounds
Because it's
glorious.
a moment of I'm connecting with myself. I'm figuring out what mood I'm in and what would sort of like make me feel nourished and whatever. And I'm also not thinking about anything else when I'm busy thinking about how I'm going to customize my cappuccino. And then I take a moment to drink it with no distractions. In other words, no phone, no
No
computer.
phone.
My brain goes to like, "Ooh, what's next? What meeting do you have next?" It's like, no, we're doing this. And like, let's savor it. And the reality is sometimes I have 3 minutes, and sometimes I have 10 minutes, and sometimes I have 15. But it doesn't matter because I just charged my battery. It's not about time, it's about quality. And we don't do that. We're not present in the fun things. You could take a shower. It's going to take you the same amount of time, but are you actually feeling the water? Are you like sudsing yourself up in the way that you enjoy? Like, I'm serious. It sounds funny, but you can get a lot of downtime and sort of connection with yourself. And then you're going to be shocked that your battery is full, but the rest of your day, you won't overextend the way you normally do. You'll overextend a bit less because you've already treated yourself well, and you're teaching your brain to treat yourself better.
No, I'm so vibing with everything you're saying. It doesn't sound weird at all because it's easier said than done. Like literally, I was just thinking of myself, my morning routine. I get my coffee, but guess what I'm doing? I'm doom scrolling.
Yes,
And
or
that
thinking about the next thing I have to do or whatever it is.
yes. So I bet it's harder for people. That's probably a hard thing for people to comprehend
Very
and
hard thing. It's a
start
very hard
doing.
thing.
So
I
do
was giving
you
a
go ahead.
leadership, a sort of workshop one day and a self-care one. And this woman comes and she's like, I have to be honest. We started whatever, it was going very well. She goes, I have to be honest. Um, I didn't really want to come today. I'm like, great, talk to me, tell me.
Yeah.
It's in front of like 80 other people, whatever. And she's like, well, I woke up this morning and then I was late. My alarm didn't go off, and she started like the whole scenario of what she was berating herself, and I'm like, you are surprised that you didn't want to come here. So she goes, yeah, because I signed up for it and I'm really interested in whatever. And I'm like, but you do understand that your first conversation of the morning and your first interaction was like a fight with yourself.
Mm.
Right? I'm like, but you don't realize it because it's with you. If it was with your husband or your child or whatever, or a partner, you would have been aware of it and you would have known why you feel the way you feel coming in, and you would have been able to sort of like help yourself, but you weren't even aware. So when we're doing something else instead of like whatever it is, when we're taking a shower and thinking about something else, we didn't even get to enjoy those 5 minutes, or drinking your coffee or whatever you love to do. Maybe it's a cookie, maybe it's just a walk to work, or a walk to your car, or whatever it is. But that moment with yourself where you check in, you're like, okay, am I good? I'm good. Okay, I'm not. Okay, I need a minute. Okay, the same way as you would do with another person. We have an inherent relationship with ourselves that is the one that we neglect the most. And so when I told her that, she's like,
So
oh my
true.
God, I didn't realize I had to fight first thing in the morning. But it changed her entire demeanor and she loved it. And then she was glowing by like halfway through because she wasn't aware. So half of the battle is we are not aware when we're having this inner, sort of really harsh dialogue with ourselves, or even a fight.
I'm having a crazy aha moment, Martine. I fight with my alarm every morning of my life. I'm a snoozer. And then I am fighting with myself. Get up. You need to get up. Don't hit snooze. Don't hit snooze. And then what do? I hit snooze. And then I'm disappointed in myself because every
Right.
morning I want to wake up early, be productive, and I don't. This is a cycle. I mean, since middle school at least.
Right.
Like and it's one I want to break, but now I'm like thinking of it as, well, so you're waking up just fighting with yourself.
Right. And so how could you feel good? And
Yeah, then
nobody
I feel
wins.
rushed and hectic
But
and
also nobody
stressed.
wins. Who wins? Who wins when you fight with yourself? It's a lose-lose
So
proposition.
what's a tool you would give me to do that?
So the tool is to say, hold on a second. So your expectations and your goal don't match with who you are. So let's look at that first of all, right?
Mhm.
Because you're setting yourself up for this failure every day. So
Yeah,
it's not about you doing
yeah.
something that's not you, it's about being more of you. So what is the issue? Is it a routine from the night before? Is it the fact that, I like to snooze. So if I need more 15 minutes to get up, let me put my alarm 15 minutes earlier and I can snooze 3 times. And maybe I need that gradual wake up. Like, let me figure out who I am and what works best for me, not what my brain thinks I need to be doing in this kind of rigid kind of like, you're not part of the equation. You just need to do this as if somebody else is dictating your life to you. But it's not somebody else, so you can't fight them. It's your brain.
Oh my god. Okay, so all of this what we're talking about also leads into you talk about the 3 pillars: adventure, awareness, and alignment.
Yeah.
Which
So,
yeah, go ahead.
yeah. So you have a question about that, or you want me to just
Well,
explain that a
yeah,
bit?
yeah, just can you walk us through? I mean, I'm
Yeah.
listening to everything you're saying. I'm like, okay, that's the awareness.
Right.
That's the alignment. So, but yeah, like explain it to
So,
who's not read your book.
yeah, exactly. So what I did was the book is really a journey for the reader and meets them where they're at. But then at the end, I wanted to have sort of these kind of like reference points that if something goes awry or if you're not clear on something, and inevitably things do because that's how we learn. Um, how do I know where I didn't check in, or what exactly I sort of overlook? So I said I really had to sit with that to figure out like this process. How can I sort of like separate it up into 3 pillars? And I was like, adventure, awareness, line. So adventure is the curiosity we're talking about. Before you can do this work, and in order to maintain a really good relationship with yourself, you have to have the right mindset. Everything starts with mindset before anything else. It's like, but we're not even aware of our mindset half the time. It's very reactive. This is trying to move people away from reactivity into being proactive, because proactive is where you can really own it, be in control of it, and then choose it. You can choose something that's not good for you, but if you choose it, then you're going to own it fully. It's okay if that's what you
Right.
want.
I'm a nutrition coach also, fitness and nutrition coach. I'm like,
Well,
have that cookie, but enjoy it. Don't have
right.
the guilt. There's no good or bad foods, right?
Exactly.
And I
It's
tell my
only good or bad if that's how you define it, by the
yes,
way.
but
I mean,
that's how
obviously within certain norms. Yeah,
of
exactly.
of course, but we've also been trained and that's a whole
Yeah.
other thing that, don't wanna go
But
down.
that also goes against human nature. It's not,
Yes,
you don't want to restrict to the point where you don't enjoy your life and to the point where it just, it's,
right.
it's like a dictatorship in your head.
Yes. And
Yeah.
then
So
when
a lot
you
of people
don't
have it.
do it, you just
All of
have
a
this
sudden you're berating yourself, but you don't want to do it anymore, which then demotivates you for other things. And by the way, it sort of expands out, right? There's a spillover. We're a human being. So if we do one thing in one area and we make ourselves super unhappy, don't expect to be happy in other areas, even if those areas are going great. Over time, you'll be like, why don't I like this anymore? Like you're gonna get disillusioned. And sometimes people start feeling down and people don't understand. And it becomes this kind of like spiral downwards that started with something like this doesn't make sense in the first place. It's not the expectations are, brain imagination and brain expectations, not necessarily ours. We need to check in with ourselves. Do I actually want to do this? And if I don't, or if I have a tug of war, for me, that's a sign like you're not aligned. Go back and figure out where you're misaligned. So first of all, it's adventure. Have the right mindset. Turn your fear into curiosity. Are you curious? Are you open-minded? Do you have expectations? Are you in judgment mode? Are you in fear mode? Whatever it is, you have to be as if you're going on a safari, which means I want the adventure. I'm really curious. I'm going to explore and discover me in this situation because I've never been in this situation on this date at this time. I think I go to work every day. It's the same experience. Oh, no, no, no. Today's a different day and tomorrow's a different day. And I'm in a different, makeup today. Maybe I slept better. Maybe I didn't. Maybe the day from before I'm carrying it forward. So we have never experienced the same moment twice. Therefore, just be curious, but
oh my gosh,
trust yourself.
you
Right?
guys, we all have to wake up. We're all going on I love that, a
Yes,
safari
we're all
every
going on a
day.
safari, but isn't that exciting?
Yeah,
And you
without
don't know what you're gonna find, but you know it's gonna be enriching if you let it.
oh my
Because
god. Yes.
right?
Yes.
Even if you have what's a bad day? Some people will say, "Oh my god, my day was crazy. I was late. I was gonna be late for a meeting. I had a flat tire, this and that." And then they're like, "But it was the most amazing day because I got through it. I didn't get nervous." So people love those days, not because they went well, because they showed up in a way that felt good to them. So that's what we have to do. We are not in control of what comes to our doorstep, but we are in control from that moment on, what we do with it, how we understand it, and then how it's stored in our mind and our story. Like we're all writing a book about our life.
Oh my god. I literally you guys, you have to buy this book. I could talk to you forever. Okay, a few more questions. You've been so gracious with your time. After you got in the accident, I assume did you take a leave of absence from work? I
Oh,
mean,
I had to. I
yeah, you
wasn't
had
functioning
to.
at all. I had to.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So then did you yourself I mean, I read all your accolades, brain, lawyer, now shifting to this author of, what we're talking about, layers and the emotions. Did you have to use some of these tools? Like this is an identity shift for you, I assume.
Huge for me. So at first I was like, I don't know, I'm gonna stay in. I love law. Like I really do. It's creating with words. And for me, you have to find your source of creativity to
Oh, I
enjoy
can
your life,
see you being a
whatever.
great lawyer. You're
Yeah,
very
no,
clear. Yeah.
yeah, I love writing, which is the same thing as this. And so I was continuing on my path, but then I realized, okay, I was saved for a reason. And at some point I just had this click that it was like almost like a download. It was like, no, no, you have to pay this forward. Like this is not just for you.
Oh.
And I was like, I kind of felt it, it wasn't a thought. It was like something else, like this kind of like knowing. And it was like, whoa, whoa, like what? So talking about transition and change, I was also like, wait a minute, like I'm good where I am. Like I have my career.
Right.
And then slowly it started. People would come to me and ask me for advice, and I'd get it because I understood the brain so well. And I was like, whoa, like I wouldn't have known this a year ago. Like I could tell, like I wouldn't have been able to say this in this way. And things literally organically started to shift. I was asked to give some talks because I'm a speaker. I give workshops. I'm a coach. I'm a life strategy coach. And so transitions, all that kind of stuff. Now I work with corporate, right? Funny because I was like, why was I a lawyer if I'm going to do this? And it's like, no, I work with teams. I work with like, sort of senior admin and things like that too. We're all people at the end of the day. So business strategy,
Yeah.
life strategy, leadership. I work a lot on leadership because before you can lead others, you need to be able to lead yourself. And all of this is part of leading yourself, right? In a way that feels right to you. So I it really happened organically over the course of a number of years. And then at one point I was like, okay, like I can't do both anymore. Where do I want to focus my energies? Um, because again, I took a step back and I was like, okay, I'm feeling a
Right?
bit tug of war. If I feel a bit of a tug of war inside or reticence, I'm like, it wants me to go deeper and figure this out. It's no longer
You got curious.
scary.
You
I
didn't
got
get,
through
you
because
didn't
it's
say
no longer
why.
scary. It's no longer scary because I understand the process, right? And so I understand how the brain works. So I went in and it was like, yeah, are you ready for the shift? Like I knew it would, I had to do it. The question was when and whatever. And then I now pretty much, I mean, I still will do some legal things if people ask me. I love to consult, but now I consult in a different way. And it's all the same skill set, by the way, except there's this enhanced understanding of the brain to the point where like I really get the intricacies of the brain. So it's very helpful to people because we're not taught this. We're not aware of it. And our brain is very protective for us not to know.
It's
Because
actually a shame we're not taught this.
I really that's part of the
Honestly,
reason why I wrote the book is my clients would ask me, they'd be, "Are you gonna write a book?" And I'm like, "I wasn't planning on it." And they're like, "No, no, you have to write this in a book." Or I'd say something, they have an aha moment. They're like, "Oh my God, other people need to know this." And then one day I sat down, I was like, "Well, why wouldn't I write a book?" Because I kept on saying, "No, I don't know." I was like, "Do I have a why?" And the answer was like, "No." So I'm like, "Well, if I don't know why, then I think I should go do it." And that's how that's how it started.
I get that. I trained and competed in a bodybuilding competition last year, and people are like, "Why are you doing this?" And my response was, "Why not?"
Right, I don't have a good
Yeah,
reason not to, and I feel
yeah,
drawn to it. So here
yeah.
I was being asked to do it, and I was like, "Wait, why keep on saying like, I don't think so, no." And then sometimes it was at some point it was nudging me, and I'm like, "Hold on a second, let me sit down and really sit with this. Is it a fear? Is it?" I got curious, and I was like,
Love that.
"Yeah, it's why not?" And I didn't have a good answer, and I was like, "Okay, so that's the reason." And that's literally why I wrote a book.
And also, you don't have there I mean, does it really have to be a reason? Like, you wanna do it. Like, what
No,
like,
but
are
you
we
know what?
looking for external
No, but
validation?
the brain needs to if your brain is in sync with
Oh.
you, and if your brain defers and says, "Okay, you know what? This is above my break grade, go ahead." Or if your brain says, "Yes, let's go do this," life is so much juicier. You don't wanna fight your brain either. You wanna bring it along and say, "No, no, this is way better than what you're showing me." And so it's a relation. It's very interesting when you start, like when I start with clients, they're like, "Oh my God, you mean I could bypass all this gunk and just like
Yes.
flow and be much freer inside." I'm like, yes, it's not, it doesn't have to be excruciating to do this work. It's actually not. It's very empowering from the get-go because you feel these shifts. But I keep the brain busy with fun stuff that it loves. I get it curious in the way that I deal with my clients. So there's no fear that pops up. There's no internal resistance. So I bypass the whole thing and we go straight to the layer and we work it. And there's never, not even once was there internal resistance. It's a lot of fun, but it's like real fun, right? Like it's like empowering.
Wow. Wow, this is spectacular. Okay, my final question before we get into details of where everyone can buy this amazing book is now what? Now
Oh
what
my
for
goodness.
Martine? What is next?
So I've literally been asked to write a second book, but I'm waiting on this because this one just came out, like one on parenting, no more parenting with no more layers, because that's huge. It is
Okay,
one
you
of
have to
the
come back on the pod.
challenging things in the world, but I'm waiting on that.
Yeah.
I wanna really promote the book. I'm doing a lot of interesting things. It might be in a movie soon.
Wow.
It won 3 awards. It won, the National Indie Excellence Award, and it won the International Business Awards Gold and Silver because it's a leadership book, right, for self-leadership. So that has been super exciting for me. Like, I was in Portugal in October, and it won 2 awards, and I was like, "Oh my goodness, this is crazy." I'm continuing to be on podcasts like yours because I love meeting like-minded people and bring it out there to audiences.
Yeah.
Um, my coaching business is doing great and continuing to speak. I really want this stuff to be out there because I think that it's our birthright to know ourselves. I really
I
do.
I I agree. I support you 100%. Okay, so let's tell everyone how to connect with you. On Instagram, you're at Martine Cohen underscore,
Yes.
correct? So it's MartineCohen underscore. And all of this will be in the show notes too. Your website, www.martinecohen.com. LinkedIn, Martine Cohen, NML. I'll put these all in the notes.
Yeah.
But most importantly for Day, where can we all find this fabulous
So
book?
so
I got
easy.
it on Amazon.
in Indigo, Barnes and Nobles, but Amazon is the easiest
Yeah.
one, and so all those. And also before we sort of finish, I just want to say that www.martinecohen.com/connect with me. You can get that free 2-day mindset reset that I spoke to you about. They can
Oh
just
my gosh.
sign up and they can get it. It's a 2-day video plus there's a worksheet, and it initiates you to this kind of work. Just a
Okay,
little
squad, that's our homework. What did I say at the beginning? I like to do items. I like action items.
yeah,
So we're all going to do that. And thank you for that gift. Thank you for this, your
pleasure.
time. It really is fantastic. I haven't finished it yet, but the nuggets in here, just from our conversation today, I mean, you saw my jaw. Like I had so many aha moments. So, um, spectacular and congratulations.
Thank you, and
And you
thank you
got,
for having me. It's a pleasure, honestly. It was so
oh,
fun to speak with you today.
oh my gosh, same, same. And okay, two other things. You got to keep us posted on this possible movie.
Yes,
Oh
yes,
my
I
God.
absolutely will.
And then you got to come back if and or when you start number 2, the parenting book,
Will
'cause
do.
that is huge. So, all right, thank you so much. And everyone go out and buy this book.
Thank you.
It's amazing. It's amazing. And that's it for this week. If this episode made you laugh, nod, or think, oh my God, same, hit follow, leave a review, and share it with someone who needs it. You're not done. You're just getting started. So go take up space, fully, loudly, joyfully. And remember, midlife isn't a crisis, it's a plot twist. See you next time on Now What?